So what is happening in the House? I mean, we've talked an awful lot about it. We know that we got a number of names that are in the running. When are we expected to see some movement on this, and what do you think we're going to end up with?
I think you'll see, as you put it, movement this week. We go back into session Tuesday, tomorrow. There's 6 or 7 candidates that have announced. There are probably that many that are waiting in the wings to see what Paul Ryan's going to do. I'm trying to keep the Texas Republican delegation neutral, so that we can unite behind a candidate who will be a conservative. And if Paul doesn't run, I think there's a chance you could have a Texan as Speaker of the House in the near future.
Because there are a number of them who have at least have been interested in throwing their hat in the ring. You know, people like Pete Sessions. You also have Mike Conaway out of Midland as well. They haven't really formally or officially announced, but the word is that they're interested, because I've heard that too. That's
right. There's some others, but we want to wait and see what Congressman Ryan. He's got the name ID. Chairman of the Budget Committee and now Chairman of the Ways and Means Committee. I personally don't think he's going to run. I think in his personal situation with a young family as Chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, that's a pretty good position.
He's in a pretty good spot
so
already.
He could run, but I think he probably won't. And if he doesn't, I can't tell you who it's going to be, but it will be a conservative, and it will be somebody who unites the Republicans in the House.
I'd like to see a Texan there, although I know, and I wondered initially why we had so many people who were not interested in the job, because it seems as all of the obvious candidates didn't really want it. Everybody was kind of backing away from it, and I thought, well, did Nancy Pelosi curse this position? What's going on here? I mean, you'd think that people would want this, but I do understand too, having talked with Marsha Blackburn, that it is a lot like herding cats, because you do have a lot of different factions in the House. Speak to this if you can.
The problem matrix isn't going to change. We still have to deal with the debt ceiling. We have to deal with Planned Parenthood. We have to deal with the spending, the continuing resolution, and the solution matrix doesn't change. You still have a Senate where it's hard to get 60 votes. You have a president who is not interested in balancing the budget or doing anything in terms of conservative values. So it's not a no-win position, but it's an extremely difficult position. And as you pointed out, some of the more credible potential candidates have just looked at it and said they don't want the headache of it.
Well, and true, I can see with some people like Paul Ryan or others, statistically making a run for the White House after having been Speaker doesn't really work out so well.
It's never happened. We've never had a Speaker become President that I'm aware of. We have had several Speakers that were Vice President. Cactus Jack Garner of Texas is one. It's just, you know, I would tell all your listeners, have hope, have faith. I've been in Congress 31 years. We will find a good man or woman to be Speaker. They will be conservative. This is a conservative Republican conference. And we will go forward. We've just got to buckle down and know we're going to deal with the Senate and deal with the President from a position of unity and conservative values. And I personally think that we're going to do it.
Are there any fears going into 2016 that Republicans could lose that majority that they have in the House, which is really so supremely important, particularly now that you have the rumblings that Joe Biden may, Ed Henry from Fox says all his good trusted sources have confirmed that he is getting in, that Biden is getting raised. Does that change it a little bit in terms of the concern about maintaining that majority with someone who might be able to excite Democrat base?
Well, obviously mathematically it's possible, and the House does make major swings from time to time. But in this case, I think the country is conservative. I think they are not supportive generically of President Obama's liberal agenda. I don't think it's realistic to think we're going to lose the House. And of course, you know, whether we maintain our current strength or increase it will depend on what we do in the next 13 or 14 months. And if we're conservative and if we do the right thing, I really think that most of the voters will vote to re-elect us and maybe even send a few more Republicans to Washington.
That's good to hear.